Hello and welcome to another edition of the iFish Illinois Data Portal Help Series. Today this help video is going to discuss how to utilize and manipulate data grids. Data grids are accessed in either any one of the menus that you have access to, and is typically just a way for us to display to the user a list of records of whatever type is selected. So whether it's a survey or a site visit or a sample or a set of fish measurements or water body stations. For today's example, I'm going to utilize site visits. So by clicking on the site visits item in this menu, I come to this grid. And this grid all grids have a couple common components. One is the title of the grid, so you know what you're looking at. Right below that is a create new record button. So depending on what grid you're looking at, this will create a new row and give you a form to use to fill out the data, to enter data to create a new row of data in this grid. And that is saved to the system immediately once you save that form. And then the grid itself, there's also usually a little bit of instruction or guidance about the grid in some cases. Okay, so here's a grid. We have a purple top border with two buttons, and I'll talk about those in a little bit. And then we have a row of column names, a bunch of data, and then here we have pages and pages of data depending on how many records there are. And in the lower right corner here is a display of the number of records being shown on this page and how many there are in total. Okay, so these buttons are pretty easy. This clear and filter, basically if you have applied a sorting or a filtering, which I'm going to cover in a second, and you want to erase that filtering and sorting and get back to the original full set of data, you just click that button like I just did now, and now we have all 15,375 site visits in our grid that we can page through and look for and investigate the data that's already in the system. Okay, so each of these column headers can be utilized to either sort on that column or filter on that column. To sort on a column, just click on the column, and you can see it first sorts it in an ascending order. If you click it again, it sorts on that column in descending order. And then if you click it one more time, it eliminates the sorting on that column. And you can sort on any column you'd like, whether it's date columns or columns for any text field like county or water body, or the name of the item or description, or the number of samples that are associated with that site visit itself. Okay, and when I'm done doing that sort of thing and I want to get back to the original state, I just click the filter and sort, the clear filter and sort, and now I'm back to the original state. So that's how the filtering or the sorting part goes. Okay, for filtering, let's say we're going to look for site visit in a particular county. So I just click this upside down striped triangle, and that opens this form that you can fill out to indicate how you want to filter. So you can do an and or on two items, or you can do just one. If you do just one, you just leave the next one blank, and then for each one, you can pick your search term. You can say, give me everything that contains the text that I'm about to give you, or it has to be equal to it, or it can start with it, or it can end with it. So let's try a contains filter, and let's look for, since we're in county, let's look for everything from DuPage. So we'll just go ahead and type the word DuPage and hit filter. That's my hometown county, so that's why I picked it. And then here we have all the records for DuPage County in this grid, 293 of them. Okay, and so if we click the clear filter and sort, we can see that now we're back to 15,375. That's the full set. So if I want to look for, say, something that I think might be in DuPage County but might be in Lake County, I can't quite recall, so I'm going to go ahead and say I want everything that includes DuPage, and I want everything that, or it contains Lake. Okay, sorry, not and, because nothing has two counties, right? So if I filter that, and now I can see I have a set of both Lake County and DuPage County site visits, and there's 885 of those. So that's a good example of how to do some filtering, and you can choose whether it starts with a few letters if you're not sure of the spelling of something, or ends with and in the same context. And you can pick different choices for each of the two terms. So it can be equal to something and start with something else, and you can do an and or an or. Okay. So that takes care of the filtering part on text. Next, I want to talk about dates, because dates are a little bit different and have a little bit different way of working. So we have different options here. It can be equal to a particular date, it can be not equal to a particular date, or any one of these choices that you see, okay? And this is helpful for choosing a range of dates. So if I wanted to choose a range of dates that were, say, a particular year, say 2009, okay? So I'd want to say it's after or equal January 1st, 2009. And so to write in the date, I can certainly type it in, but you have to get the format right. And so an easier way is to use this little pop-up calendar. All right, so I'm looking for January 1st, 2009. Now, one way to do that is to just go back month by month by month, but that would take a long time. So a little trick that you need to know is that if you click on the month, it basically takes you up to that year and gives you a chance to pick any month in 2019. And if you click the year, whatever year that is, it gives you some date ranges to pick from. So you can keep doing this until you find the date that you're actually interested in. So we are looking for 2009, so I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to click 2009, and now I want January, and now I want January 1st, and now my date has been selected in the appropriate format. You can also just type a date in like this, and that will, and tab, and that will also work. Oops. And that will also work, okay? But this is a nice, convenient way to navigate through quickly and pick a date that's precise. So we need something that is both after or equal 2009 and is before or equal December 31st of that year to get all of 2009. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and do this process again and keep clicking back, kind of zooming out, okay, until we find the year we want, and then zoom back in to the month we want, and then to the day we want. And there's our result. And then to execute that filter, we just hit the filter button. And now we see we have everything from 2009. That's 545 items, 49 items. Okay? And if I want to clear that out, again, I just hit this clear and sort. But there may be cases where you want 2009 and you'd say you want this list from DuPage County. That's again. So I'm going to go ahead and filter on DuPage County. So now I have the 2000 sites from DuPage County. And let's say this isn't site visits. Let's say this is data about individual samples or a list of fish measurements. You may want to use this in Excel in some way or use it outside the system. So you can take this grid and export it to Excel by clicking this button, and you will get an Excel sheet that has just the selected records from the system. So I go ahead and click it, and it knows to tell my computer to open that file with Excel. You can also save it to your hard drive if you want, and I get that information in, I'm just going to make this bigger, a grid format. You get the date right here, you get the name of the survey, you get the county it's in, you get the water body it's on, and you get the list of the number of samples that were executed as a part of that site visit. Let's go back to our application and just cover one more thing, and that is in every grid there will be some combination of buttons in the bottom, on the right side here, that will allow you to do some, execute some function on this particular record. So you may want to delete this record, you may want to edit this record, or you may want to add a related piece of data to it. In this case, a sample is related to a site visit. You might want to copy the record. You'll get different versions of this depending on which grid you're on, but always look for these buttons to be able to manipulate these records. So we've covered the manipulation of grids. For every grid, you can create a new record. You can clear your filtering and sorting. You can export the grid either from the filtered and sorted state or the entire grid itself to Excel. And then, of course, you can use the column heads to sort and filter as you see fit, moving through pages at the bottom. Hopefully this video has been helpful, and be sure to utilize other help videos to help you get familiar with the system if you have any questions.